What's the story, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. The 2023 All-Ireland Senior Football Provincial Championships draw have happened. They happened on RT Sport a little bit earlier today, and certainly some interesting draws in there. Certainly some interesting ties nonetheless. I mean, look, I think the Provincial Championships, or next year, 2023, shall we say, are definitely going to be fairly interesting in the respect that I'm not too sure if they're going to have the same significance as they've had in previous years, given the fact that, you know, the winners of the provincial championships now don't have a direct route into the All-Ireland quarterfinals. They'll essentially still get put into the same group stages as the rest of all the other sides who would have participated in the provincial championships, but of course would have also been in Division 1 in the National League, or at least avoided relegation from Division 2 and been promoted from Division 3. So the championship structure is certainly different this year or moving forward into next year. I have made a video on that on the channel already, so make sure to check that out if you get a chance. If you want to see how the full championship is going to be structured, make sure to check that out when you get a chance. I'm still not convinced by it, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I still think, you know, like, the provincial winners, in my opinion, should go straight into the quarterfinals. I think that's how it should be. I think it's unfair on the likes of, you know, you look at Derry and Cavan, for example, who've won the Ulster Championship in recent seasons. You know, a significant achievement winning the Ulster Championship and going into the quarterfinals, obviously avoiding, you know, a team from you know, avoiding any of the sort of other big hitters as well. And now they're going to be going into the group stages along with everyone else, potentially. They will obviously avoid some of the other provincial winners in there because all the teams will be seeded. But I think at the same time, there is a lot of issues with the new championship draw. You know, with one or two tweaks, I think it could be a lot better. Provincial winners go straight into the All-Ireland quarterfinals. And I think as well as that, you then have group stages maybe for the qualifier teams. But look, I suppose that is a conversation for another day. I have discussed that in good detail already on the channel, so make sure to check that out when you get a chance. But the draw was made earlier today in RT Sport, so we'll run through it very briefly. This was the Connacht Senior Football Championship draw. So in the quarterfinals, you've New York versus Sligo, London versus Sligo, New York versus Leitrim, London versus Sligo, and Roscommon versus Mayo. The semi-finals will see Galway play the winner of Roscommon Mayo, and London or Sligo will play the winner of New York Leitrim. I think this is a very interesting draw because what it's actually meant is we're going to have a Division 4 side in that All-Ireland Senior Football Championship, because London and Sligo and New York and Leitrim on one side of the draw. I think it's a big positive for those counties in some respects. I think you look at the likes of a Sligo or a Leitrim who could get to a Connacht final. It's been a long time since Leitrim have been to a Connacht Senior Football Championship final. Maybe this is one of their best ever opportunities to potentially get there. You think of Sligo, who haven't been to a Connacht final since, I believe, 2015. So it's a huge, huge opportunity. And even for London as well. Like, London nearly beat Sligo and Leitrim last year, and New York nearly beat Sligo as well in that championship game. So, you know, I don't think it's a given either. You know, you could have a bizarre circumstance where London, you know, just like in 2013, end up in a Connacht final. It really, really could happen. The last time I believe we had or the draw was like that, I think it might have been 2015 maybe, when Sligo got to the final. So very, very interesting. On one hand side, it probably does mean that you're probably going to get a very one-sided final. With all due respect, I think Mayo, Galway and Roscommon are significantly ahead of those other counties. But at the same time, it will give one of those counties a lot of chance for development, a lot of chance for improvement. And I think you will see, you know, those counties improve because of it. And going into the All-Ireland series as well, that's going to be interesting. Plenty of comments flying in there, so much appreciated. We will get to them in a brief moment, but we'll just crack on and run through the draw here for the time being. So this was the Ulster Championship draw, and Armagh versus Antrim in the preliminary round. I'll tell you what, actually, will we do a quick prediction, actually, first of all, for the Connacht Championship draw, just for the crack? I think Mayo and Sligo are going to get to the final there, and I think, you know, I'm tipping Mayo to win it this time around. I think I tipped Mayo to win it last year, and that didn't happen, but we'll go with that. But anyway, the Ulster Championship draw, Armagh versus Antrim in the preliminary round. The quarterfinals: Fermanagh versus Derry, Tyrone versus Monaghan, Down v Donegal, Cavan v Armagh Antrim. And then in the semi-finals, Fermanagh or Derry will play either Tyrone or Monaghan, and either Down or Donegal will play Cavan or Armagh. Few big things jump out looking at this draw. I think, first of all, you could have a big semi-final between Derry and Tyrone. Two of those obviously clashed last year in the Ulster Championship. I would put Derry and Tyrone as the two best teams in Ulster, in my opinion. Tyrone were All-Ireland winners just 2 years ago. Derry were Ulster winners last year. And although Derry limped out in many ways against Galway in the semi-finals, to get to an All-Ireland semi-final, I think was still a significant achievement. And also looking at that draw as well, to get it back on the screen, big opportunity there for Armagh, who haven't been to an Ulster final now. Jesus, since how long? Is it 2010, I think, the last time they were there? Obviously, there's that statistic of every other county having gotten to an Ulster final since Armagh were last there. So, significant opportunity for them. I think Donegal are very much on the decline. Look, you wouldn't rule out Cavan. I've certainly ruled them out on plenty of occasions before, and it's come back to bite me. I couldn't see Antrim or Down doing anything there. So, obviously I'll probably change my predictions between now and then, but just for the sake of it, I'll probably go with Armagh Tyrone Ulster final there. And I think, I'd love to see Armagh do it, but it's very hard to say at this moment in time, isn't it? It really, really is. I'd probably shade towards Tyrone to bounce back and win that this year, but we'll have to wait and see. Just looking at the Connacht Senior Football Championship draw there. So, we already did that, didn't we? We already did that. Which one did we not do? The Leinster Senior Football Championship. That's the draw we didn't do. First round, Longford versus Offaly, Wicklow versus Carlow, and Wexford versus Laois. You then have in the quarterfinals Kildare versus Wicklow, and the winner of that obviously plays Carlow. And then, Kildare played a winner of Wicklow Carlow, Dublin played a winner of Wexford Laois, and Meath played the winner of Longford Offaly. I suppose looking at this draw in terms of possible things that may stand out right here. I mean, first of all, when you do look at that draw, again, as a Dublin fan, and I'm sure Wexford fans maybe feel the same, I think, we're already neighbours as it is, and I think we're probably already sick of each other a lot of the time. And, do Dublin want to play Wexford again? Maybe. Do Wexford want to have to face Dublin again? Probably not. Probably not. And obviously, you don't want to discount Laois, who, of course, will obviously fancy their chances going up against Wexford, two Division 4 teams next year. But you don't like to see repeat pairings, and the fact that Dublin and Wexford could now potentially play each other 3 years in a row, all at Chadwick's Park as well. I understand repeat pairings happen, and I don't think there's anything really you can do about them. It's no one's fault. There's some repeat pairings that would have been very interesting, like Derry Tyrone or whatever. So it's kind of just one of them things, unfortunately. But at the same time, a little bit disappointing. Sorry, I have to get the Munster Championship draw up here because I forgot to add that in earlier. But cracking on with the Leinster Championship again there, and just looking at the semi-finals, you could have Kildare versus Dublin possibly in the semi-finals, but I think it really does create an opportunity for counties on the other side of the draw because, Meath, I'm sure, will want to improve next season under Colm O'Rourke, and they will certainly be targeting a Leinster final. Westmeath, Tailteann Cup winners last year, a significant amount of talent in there at the moment. You could arguably say the best Westmeath side since they won a Leinster Championship in 2004. Look, Dublin are going to win the Leinster Championship. We know that, realistically speaking. But it's a great opportunity for a Westmeath or a Meath to get back in a Leinster final. I even look at the likes of Louth and Offaly. Could either one of them go on a run? I think between the four and possibly even Longford as well, between the 5 counties, I really don't think there's much difference really between the two in my opinion. We'll get the Connacht, or we'll get the Munster Championship draw up in a moment, but we'll just run through some comments here. Kerry Fan TV says, do you know what would piss me off if we were drawn with either Tyrone or Dublin or both. I presume you obviously mean in terms of the group stage draw. Look, Kerry are going to win the Munster Championship. Dublin are going to win the Leinster Championship. So you won't get Dublin in that group stage draw. Padraig says, is it not seeded somehow? Gavin says here, Connacht is usually the second best competition in Ireland. It's probably going to be bad next year. A Division 1v4 team, and imagine later the 4 team playing against the Dublin or Kerry in the group stage. Yeah, it's one of them things, and I think you could possibly have a situation where you've got, and it's very likely, you've got Dublin in one of the groups. You've got, let's say, Sligo in a group. You could have Cork. You could have a very, very one-sided group in there. The team that has Sligo in there as well. And that's no disrespect to a team like Sligo. I think that's just unfortunately how the draw has gone. But at the same time, I would be curious to know, for any Sligo fans who are watching in the comments down below, let me know what do you think in terms of, would you rather get, I'm sure you'd rather a day out in a Connacht final because they don't come too often. And even for a Leitrim, I cannot remember the last time that Leitrim played in a Connacht final. It's been a long, long time ago. So I think at the same time, it will be great for those counties to play in a Connacht final. But then obviously the knock-on effects of that, would you, maybe those counties would prefer playing in a Connacht final and then going into the Tailteann Cup. But unfortunately, because of the way, that wouldn't make sense, because it's like saying the same thing to one of the Ulster finalists. The Munster Championship draw looks like this. So it is Tipperary versus Waterford and Cork versus Clare in the quarterfinals. And the semi-finals will see Limerick against either Cork or Clare, and Tipperary or Waterford against Kerry. We know Kerry are obviously going straight through. They're going to win the Munster Championship. I mean, the other side of the draw is interesting. Clare have been a team for a couple of years now that have looked very good in the league and have possibly held the fort as the second best team in Munster, but they haven't been able to put it together like in the Munster Championship, unfortunately. That penalty shootout loss against Limerick last year was a tough one, but you'd give them a great chance against Cork, and I'm not too sure where that's going to be, what ground it's going to be at, but you'd give Clare a fair opportunity, to be fair. But you would possibly be looking at a Cork v Kerry final. I think if Cork continue with the way they ended last year, they should have enough to get past Clare and Limerick, in my opinion. They beat Limerick last year, obviously, in the qualifiers. So yeah. Kerry Fan TV says Kerry versus Derry would be interesting. Lakaka says you never know, Kildare could win it. I mean, you'd probably rather play Dublin in a Leinster semi-final than a final, but at the same time, I'm not sure about that. I'd respectfully have to disagree with you there. And what it does do is it increases pressure on Kildare in some ways in Division 2, to start fast, because Division 2 is going to be tough. And if you got relegated from Division 2, you could be looking at Kildare in the Tailteann Cup. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got Dublin in that Leinster semi-final. So I don't think that will happen. I think Kildare are far too strong to get relegated. I think there's 2 very obvious relegation candidates there. But I think at the same time, Kildare will have to start fast. And yeah, Kerry v Limerick in the quarterfinals of the Munster Championship would be piss take. Tipperary played them 2 years ago. Yeah, Kerry did play Tipperary 2 years ago, and it was a convincing win for Kerry. So yeah, look, that's the provincial championship draw. Yeah, I'd be curious to know your opinions or comments down below, or even live as well. Look, are the provincial championships going to have as significance next year? I don't know. Look, I'll certainly be supporting them. I'll certainly be covering them as much as I can, and giving them the same attention that's been on this channel for the last couple of years. I presume TV companies will do the exact same, but obviously with the fact that the provincial winners, there's just it's a strange dynamic, and I'd love to see them make a couple of tweaks, but we'll obviously have to wait and see. But look, a great opportunity for some counties in there. Possibility for either a Sligo Leitrim getting to a Connacht final. Could you possibly see a Westmeath getting to a Leinster final in the Leinster Championship? Big opportunity there. On one hand side of the Munster draw, you've got a good couple of teams there. And obviously in Ulster's always a minefield. It's always a cracker. And even in the opening draw, you've got some big games there already with Tyrone versus Monaghan, for example. So, you've got some very, very good games in there, some very good draws. And, I really do hope that we do get some good games in the provincial championships. Gavin says here, I wonder if we would get a fifth different winner in Ulster. The fact we had 4 different winners, Donegal, Cavan, Tyrone, Derry, shows how good it is. Well, the obvious one there would be Armagh, wouldn't it? And you do look at that draw. Armagh playing, well, they play Antrim, which, look, they should be beaten. I mean, I don't want to discount Antrim completely, but, I think Antrim probably are the weakest team in the province alongside Down, but I think Down have got the better group of players. It's just a matter of them, not having their act together. Cavan are always a difficult side, and Cavan beat Armagh a couple of years ago, I remember, in the championship, but Armagh should be beating them. They've got a tremendous group of players there, and Donegal have slightly been on the decline in the last couple of years. Tongue twister there. Obviously, Rory Kavanagh is likely to be coming in as Donegal manager. It's probably going to get announced in the next couple of days, I'd say. So, is that going to have a managerial bounce? I don't know. But it's a great opportunity for Armagh. It really, really is. And, an Armagh versus Derry final, or even an Armagh versus Tyrone final, that would be a memorable occasion, I'm sure of it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments down below. We'll be going live after the Field Rangers versus Mid-Kerry game. We'll be doing a match reaction after that. It's obviously about to throw in about 10 minutes time. So do let me know your opinions on this draw. What do you think in regards to it? How did your county get on in the draw, obviously? And, could there be some shocks, thrills, spills, and surprises along the way? Let me know. So, yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you all later.